Once upon a time, in a quiet neighborhood, there was a little boy named Eddie. Eddie was like the other kids in the neighborhood, playing games, riding bikes, and going on adventures with his friends. But Eddie had a secret gift. He could understand bird language. It was a talent he had discovered one spring morning when he was only 4 years old, when the chirping of a robin outside his window seemed to speak to him in a way that made perfect sense. By the time Eddie was 7, he had become good friends with a mama bird who lived in a cozy nest at the end of the driveway. The nest was tucked high up in a sturdy oak tree, and the mama bird's name was Willow. She had soft brown feathers and a bright, curious beak. Eddie could hear her chirps and trills from his window and knew exactly what she was saying. She had baby birds, little ones who would soon learn to fly. Each morning, as Eddie would step outside to play, Willow would greet him with a cheerful, "Tweet, tweet, good morning, Eddie." Eddie would wave up at her and reply, "Good morning, Willow. How are the babies today?" Willow would chirp proudly, "They're growing fast. Just last night they tried to spread their wings. They almost flew, but they need more practice. Do you think you could help me?" Eddie was always eager to help his feathered friend. He would sit beneath the tree, talking to Willow while she looked after her babies. As the days passed, Eddie learned more about the birds' lives, their songs, and even the way they communicated through different types of chirps and whistles. But he also understood that Willow was a bit worried. "I want them to be brave, Eddie," Willow confessed one afternoon. "The world is big and full of dangers. I don't want them to be afraid." Eddie thought for a moment, tapping his chin. "I think they're braver than you realize," he said gently. "Maybe they just need to see how strong you are. You've taken care of them, kept them warm and safe. Maybe they can learn that from you." Willow looked down at her babies who were hopping around the nest, flapping their wings. Their little wings were strong and their beaks were open wide as if practicing their chirps. Eddie smiled. "Why don't you tell them a story?" Eddie suggested. "A story about a brave mama bird who helped her babies grow strong enough to fly." Willow's eyes brightened, and she chirped in excitement. "That's a wonderful idea, Eddie. Thank you." That evening, when the sun began to set and the air grew cooler, Willow began to tell her babies a story. She chirped gently, telling them of a great journey where mama birds had soared across the sky, crossed vast oceans, and found new places for their little ones to explore. The baby birds listened intently, their eyes wide, their wings twitching as if they could feel the excitement in the air. As Willow spoke, Eddie felt something magical happen. The baby birds began to flap their wings harder, their chirps growing stronger and more confident. They weren't afraid anymore. They were ready to take flight. The next morning, Eddie woke up early and rushed outside to find Willow and her babies. As he arrived, he saw something incredible. One by one, the baby birds took off from the nest, soaring through the air with the guidance of Willow, who chirped happily. "You did it!" Eddie cheered, his voice full of pride. Willow swooped down to him, her feathers glistening in the sunlight. "We did it, Eddie. You helped them believe in themselves." From that day forward, Eddie and Willow became even closer friends. The little boy continued to visit every day, talking to Willow and keeping an eye on the baby birds as they grew stronger and more confident. And Willow, with her brave heart, always had the wisdom and love to guide her babies toward the sky. As for Eddie, he never stopped listening to the language of the birds. He knew that the world was full of hidden stories, all waiting to be understood by those who were willing to listen. And Eddie, with his special gift, was the best listener of them all.